Hello, guys. I am live from Turkey, specifically in this city of Izmir. You can see right behind me there, the beautiful city. And today, in this live session, that um, about the realities of traveling across countries. As probably some of you may recall, I started this and then to go to Istanbul in Turkey. People commonly call it Turkey. But that we are also going to go to Italy. But along the journey, there are things that I'm learning. Some of these mistakes that I have made in this trip, and I'm going to be breaking down some of those things with you guys. And so you know, good afternoon, your attention, please. I I am in the cruise ship, so you can see right behind me is a very beautiful state of Isma. The city right there. You can also see right behind me. And there are also some cruise lines that are actually on the horizon. So make sure you enjoy, you subscribe on this channel to learn more from some of the lessons that I am learning. Now, a couple of things here, what to expect at the end, but make sure you come. Let's start by exploring some real prices in 2025 from food, transport to daily costs and market spending. In this live breakdown in this Mediterranean trip, one thing that I am learning is that today we are still here at Izmir. My family and I we had the chance to go out into the city, and the most was that I traveled on a Canadian passport, so we just went straight in, no hassles. It was very easy. We managed to go through in the port here in Izmir, and then we went into the city. We got into a taxi. But taxis are always quite expensive. Can you imagine that this guy in Turkey they use the Turkish lira? This guy charged me, my wife, and our little boy, and also another friend that we had. That was quite high, but we wanted to just go, so we paid 850 lira, Turkish lira, and then we went to the city and we explored the city center, beautiful Moscow, and also there's a lot of history that is attached to that, and quite interesting because part of the things that I like to learn is people's culture, people's history, right? And also see infrastructure. Turkey, at least Izmir, where we went, we had just a few minutes. I saw that they actually have, very good transport system. I saw the bus system. In Switzerland, they call them tram. So I saw they also have their version of the tram bus system, the buses that actually more like trains, but they move. Sometimes they share road with other, buses, but they are more like uh, trains. So that was that. And they also have the public transport system, the train system. We were in a rush, so I wasn't able to actually try that here in Turkey. Hello, where are you watching from? Comment and let me know if the voice is audible. I'm live from Turkey. You can see on the background, there are very beautiful views there. And so, so that was something that was interesting. The prices and also the idea that if you are traveling to other countries, it's always a good idea to have the currency of that particular currency because if you don't, in this case, this person was talking about, oh, they said, oh, there was like 30 euros. But when we arrived, then the person said, oh, I want Turkish lira, and then Turkish lira, and then they gave us, sorry about that, there is an announcement. Some people are embarking here from here into this cruise ship. So they are just making an announcement. So just hang on. So I thought that was very interesting, right? So that's lesson number one. Fortunately, I had some Turkish lira. I can imagine because the euros Israel just didn't accept them. Now for the food, I saw like there is more like an informal market right at the city center, but people were not yet open for business at that time. But there was also sector more like in the US would see the in a friend that we had, she's from Germany and actually was able to withdraw some money from that that bank, right? So that's something that was interesting. I was in Zimbabwe in September, and sometimes we take these things for granted. It can be a challenge sometimes to withdraw money from the bank. And once again, welcome on board. Sorry, guys. We would like to inform you that your cabins are now ready. Enjoy the cruise. Just let me know where you are watching from. And I'm just making this announcement again. Hello, where are you watching from? I hope you are enjoying the nice views here. Comment, make sure you subscribe, and you watch out some other videos that I am actually sharing on this channel. I am creating some content here that I will be sharing with you guys when I get to a more stable internet. I'm recording from the cruise ship, so the internet is not really strong. Now, I was talking about Turkey, so that was something that I learned. The food, I didn't get to try the food, but at least I saw that there was this interesting experience, like seeing that. I thought that was cool. But another interesting thing is like something that is interesting. You can see that this is a port, and that's infrastructure, and that's real estate. You can see in that regard. Some people they want to invest in real estate. So when I see things like that, you know, and if I'm interested, I would, you know, dig deeper and try to find, how the market is. Are there some opportunities if you want to do real estate to see if they are fairly valued? Because, a lot of people they lose money because they like to just jump in and buy and think that in real estate or in some investments you don't lose money. So that is very important. I noticed that yesterday when we left Greece, because we arrived in Greece, that we were so tired. The experience was seamless. We passed it through Amsterdam. If you watch some of my videos, and that's when, because I travel on a Canadian passport, that was very easy, right? And because Greece is part of the Eurozone, I didn't know that they were not going to ask us for passport. So we just, when we arrived in Greece, we just got through, and then there were no questions asked. I thought that was really cool. In Greece, from what I saw, we were in Athens, and we went to a city called Prayas, and I saw these football teams offices, it's called Olympias Football Club. Their office, I think that was really cool. I said I have some viewers there. Where are you guys watching from? I'm in Turkey, Izmir. You can see that's the beautiful view of the city. It's really beautiful from the look of things. And excuse me, there's an announcement. I'm in a cruise ship, so they're just telling people what they use the euro, and the euro is really a strong currency. We were in Switzerland in May, and the Swiss currency was actually very strong. But the euro, in this case, it's also a very good and stable currency. And the Greece economy is actually, I think, from what I saw from the European Commission, they have 31% indirect and direct dependence on tourism. So tourism is very big in Greece. So that was something that I learned. And also, Greece is very interesting because they have their own language, but there are a lot of famous mathematicians. Pythagoras, if you did mathematics, I remember that was something that stood out about Greece. And there are philosophers, people who follow philosophy. A lot of people they were talking about Socrates, Aristotle, and all these very well known people. So I thought that was very interesting. But the roads were very nice. The food, the food was also nice. We were staying in a hotel, and the hotel was in downtown. It was relatively cheap, but breakfast was, I would say, expensive because we paid 15 euro per person on the breakfast for the buffet. But you know, that's what you get. The food is good, but also you have to pay a price. So that was Greece for us. So far, I would say take here, this part of take here, which is Asmir, is um, actually very interesting. Now let's talk about how, as someone who is in the diaspora, how you can build wealth, because a lot of people that I talk to, at least in the diaspora, sometimes it's also because you have bills that have to be paid. But a lot of people I talk to, they really don't like the jobs that they are working, and but the choices are limited because once you have rent or a mortgage, a car payments, you will still have to pay for those bills. So you will see that sometimes people end up being miserable, but still they can't quit those jobs because you still have those bills to pay. So what I've seen is that sometimes it's very, very important to invest in assets. When you invest in assets, it means those assets can either appreciate and then generate some passive income. So that's where the issue of building wealth comes in. The challenge though is that how do you choose the right asset class? Because a lot of people, I have spoken to people who have lost hundreds of thousands in stocks, even in real estate. There are some people who bought real estate, who bought houses in Ontario, in Canada, from Canada, and the Ontario market, it was at some point at the peak, and now some people have seen their net worth like it dropped by 30%, especially those who had a lot of exposure in real estate. So a lot of people now they get so scared in investing, right? And that's what I think is very, very important. And I do some coaching programs. The idea is for me, from my experience, I trade stocks in the US and also options. What I've learned is that you really have to educate yourself first. Sometimes it's better to not even invest your money in things that you don't understand. Think of it if you are making, let's say, a 1 million Canadian dollars, right? And you are going to be in there for the amortization for 30 years. You really have to understand that for the next 30 years, you have a commitment to pay that money. A lot of people, they just jump in, and when they do, they then end up losing a lot of money. And sometimes in that case, people sometimes they jump into pre-sales, they just pay money, they don't understand valuation, right? And it's very possible to lose money in real estate. It's very possible to lose money in stocks. So that's what I teach people when I do my coaching programs. You can check out on Streetwise Economics. I have a website www.streetwiseeconomics.com. And some of the clients that I've worked with, some are in Australia, Canada, of course, the US and Zimbabwe, and the UK. A lot of people, they are professionals who are working, but they just say they don't have time to understand how stocks work. And The worst mistake that you can do is to just buy stocks or buy assets or investments without understanding them. Some people they go to the banks and then they get charged fees. In Canada, roughly it's about 2%, and their money mostly gets invested in mutual funds that don't even beat the S&P 500. So that's unfortunate because you see that you are paying 2%. The S&P 500 over the past, average, if you look at 30 years, 30-year return, you're looking at probably 10% return, right? And there are years like, last year, I think it returned just over 24%. The other year, it was around that same time, same return. But it's not always like that all the time. So, but time and time again and again, whatever I say here is not in vain. Always do your own research. And if you want to learn more, reach out. And then investing comes with specific nuances because you really have to factor in some parameters like what is your risk tolerance? Do you have some savings? And what is your time horizon, right? That you want to have the money invested. Do you want to have some exposure into the US market or in Canada or other broad markets? So the key in my experience is, so if you want to go to the bank, make sure that you ask for the track record for that fund manager so that at least you invest with someone who has a good track record. It's very possible to invest your money. I have worked with clients who for 10 years they were basically losing money, right? So think of it. So you want to make sure that you invest your money with credible funds or reputable agents. If you are someone who doesn't want to manage your own funds, your own investments, and I have been watching documentaries, including recently in Australia, of people who have lost their life savings, right? Even thinking that they are doing this the right way. So you must always do due diligence before you invest your money because you work so hard for your money. You want to make sure that you invest that money or your resources with people with credible history record. Otherwise, you lose your money. Where are you watching from? I can see there is someone who is there. Make sure you subscribe, you follow me. Are you guys enjoying this view like I'm doing? I am right now in a cruise ship and we are going to be heading to Istanbul, Turkey. And the exciting thing about this trip is that from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you really want food, people are eating. Like right now, there's food, it's a buffet. You see, you eat whatever you want. So having a cruise, traveling, doing a cruise, it's good because you pay for a board for the cabin that you will be staying, and then you get the food. When you get food, you also get to meet people from different parts of the world, and the experience has been good. You travel to different places. Like in this case, we left Greece. Now we are in Izmir. We'll be going to Turkey, and then we'll be going to Italy. So think of it if I was flying, right? I would have flown, and I think for me, this has been a very good experience. And I'm looking forward to traveling to other countries as well via the cruise because you get to explore it. Sometimes it's not a lot of time, but the thing is like at least you get a glimpse of quite a number of places. And in the cruise, some things that I'm learning are that you know they are selling stuff, but you just have to know what you want and be mindful of the budget because it's very easy to overspend. Of course, it's your money, but what I've seen is that sometimes things in the cruise they are very expensive. It's more like the airport. A drink that costs maybe €1 outside You can buy it $5 in the cruise. So there's convenience, but really it's more like you're at the airport and you're kind of like trapped. So if you're hungry, you have to then, buy something at the current price. So that's something to watch out for. But cruise lines, at least this is our first. My family and I am really enjoying this vacation and also exploring different places. I love to see beautiful views, to see how some economies work, to see other people. For example, this experience in Turkey, some of the people that we met with, they were not able to speak in English, but I could see that these are wonderful people, at least from my experience. People that I met, the taxi drivers and the people that I linked up when we went into the city, and it's it's amazing. I can imagine it is a different experience than just seeing it online, right? And I wish I have more time. I think at some point, once permitting, it would be a wonderful experience for me to do a tour around the world, just making sure that I travel around the world and just to get to spend some days in different countries, talking to people, learning about their economies, and you know, it opens my mind because otherwise a lot of things I just see them online and it's a narrative that other people, no offense, other people are sharing, right? So in this example, I get to experience and see the world in my own world, in my own way. And somebody would say, "Oh, how do you finance that? It's very expensive." Yes, it's expensive to travel. But for me, traveling is one of those things that I'm really passionate about, right? So I'm very prepared to cut on other things so that I can divert all the other money into traveling, see the world, I see different cultures. You see, I'm enjoying these views. I'm looking forward to Istanbul. Istanbul, from what I was researching, someone was telling me that it's a very popular city. They are about, I think, over 50 million. So that's a big city, right? So it's interesting. I'm gonna be looking forward to that. And in addition to the seeing like how the city, the people, the market, the food, I think the cool thing about traveling is the experience. You can have very good experiences or very bad experiences. But so far, I've had very good experience, even on the border here in Turkey. I was telling you in Greece, no questions asked. I travel with Canadian passport. I think probably that helps. And I can imagine if I had spent more time, maybe I would have a different view. But at least for now, for the cities in Athens, I'm looking forward to exploring quite a number of places and also even in Istanbul to explore and just learn more about the Turkish people, Turkey people. Now it's called Turkey. For those who watch soccer, they know that I think it's called Galatasaray. There's a very popular team, football team that comes from Turkey, and yeah, it's a very interesting country, and I like to just learn about people's culture, to try their food, and to just you know appreciate those experiences. Guys, make sure you subscribe, you follow me for more content. I will be uploading more content when I'm settled, when I have reliable internet. Right now, I'm in a cruise ship. The Wi-Fi is it's not really super strong. So that's why I'm just recording and creating content. And then I will edit it. I hope you find this helpful and interesting. So I'm gonna end the live stream soon, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. We'll be heading to Istanbul in a bit, and I will be enjoying these views throughout. So make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. And watch some other videos that are on my website on www.streetwiseeconomics or even on these channels. And make sure that you share with other people so that the YouTube algorithm favors my channel so that it grows. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you. I will see you in the